Welcome back to Peak Speed Lab 164, where gravity and mass meet friction and the ramp decides the results. So, quick thing, hope you're subscribed. If you're not, you might miss out on the giveaway. Okay, this is the Hot Wheels Silver Series Batmobile giveaway. If you can stay for this video to the end, I'm going to explain how this is going to work. Okay. We got the bottom. This is an unopened package. I have a second one that I will be testing all these vehicles in a certain way. But this is the other one, unopened. So hopefully you'll subscribe, you'll like, so you don't miss out when I do the giveaway. All right. But more on that in a minute. So here's what we're talking about. We've got about 37, not about, we've got 37 cars in the lab, and we've got, there we go. I'm doing that thing again. 37 cars in the lab. And I've been measuring 15 aspects of each car, of every car. It does take quite a bit of time. In addition to, we have the track geometry, room temperature, humidity, track temp, all of these things to see if there was going to be any real measurable impact when doing the short form drag strip. This is really our baseline before we do what will be the 1/64 scale of the quarter mile drag strip. That will be to show us what the actual speed is at the best point, at the end point of that quarter mile. And then we will do the distance testing to see how cars momentum will carry themselves throughout a course. It's going to be similar to if you follow JR3 Garage. He does some really great, King of the Case, and he does all these, different track layouts, which are very cool. And the inspiration for what I'm going to do with these, but I'm doing them for a different reason. Well, kind of the same reason. We're testing to see how far the cars can go, but the purpose that I'm going to be doing is we're going to look at short form drag strip, which again, we'll continue to do that. They're going to get 20 warm-up laps. You get 10 official laps, and we'll take the average of the 10 laps. So, and then that's going to be their result, and that's in time. So that's going to be in seconds. Then the scale 164 scale quarter mile drag strip, that's going to be miles per hour / kilometers per hour at the end point of that quarter mile, of that scaled quarter mile. And then of course we're going to have the distance challenge, just kind of just see the momentum. They're going to be all rated equally, and depending on where they place will determine what points they'll receive. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep the top 10 from each category. And as we continue to add more cars may fall out of that top 10. Okay. So, so getting back to the measurements, we're finding that for the most part, most of these measurements haven't really had any kind of a measurable impact. Even weight, surprisingly, but what really the number one impact was rubber tires versus plastic, with the weight being kind of a distant second. Now, that said, while I'm going to stop doing the full 15, point inspection, if you will, of measuring, moving forward, we'll still do the weight. I'm going to do the hub to hub design, and I'm going to track the center of gravity. Now, for folks who are really interested in wanting to know, if you see a particular car that shows up on the channel, you want to know what that full 15-point measurement is, the axle play, width, length, all the other things, that tire diameter, tire width, all those other points that I've measured, let me know, and I'll be happy to go through and I will do those measurements, and then I will be happy to provide them. Okay, so, but in the meantime, moving forward, that's how we're going to do it. We'll still run the 20 warm-up laps, and we'll still run the 10 official laps, get that average. Because we're getting very close. We've got plenty of cars now that we started. I've got a lot of cars in the queue, and we're going to start moving forward to some of these other tests. Now, that said, the other thing that we've noticed is because I ran a couple of tests, if you will, with the 6-lane drag strip. The short form drag strip, as you've seen, is 6-lane. The lanes didn't really have a measurable impact as well. So I'm actually going to start running more than one car at a time. So how I group them may depend on what line they came from. It may depend on the make and the model. It might depend on if they came in a particular package. It's just going to depend. But I will start running several cars together So we will be seeing kind of more exciting. I'm sure folks will like to see these cars perform side by side as we go. But again, short form drag strip, they will all get 20 warm up laps and then the 10 official laps, and then we will track their results. When we go to the next test, which will be the quarter mile drag strip scaled to 164 scale, there will be no warm-ups, but we will run. I'm going to have two lanes for that. We'll run two cars side by side, and they will get a run on each track. And then we'll take the average of their speed uh, to determine kind of what their placement is. As far as the distance challenge, it will be, or not distance. I don't want to call it a challenge. It's kind of it's testing because we're kind of seeing how they perform. We will take I'm gonna not necessarily measure distance. We're gonna measure placement, but we will still keep track of distance if that makes sense. Figure out where they're coming in, and then how they compare to the rest of the field. So they again, no test run. They're gonna get one run, and where they end up is where they end up. And then we will again have these two categories, which will be rubber tires, plastic tires. That's going to be the two categories because again, weight was a distant second. Um, and the rest of the measurements didn't really have a measurable impact. I know I keep saying again and again. So that said, we've got I think that's going to be pretty much it. We're gonna start this, and I think what I will do as I'm processing through all of this is the next I think the next test run, since we've got this Batmobile giveaway that I'm going to talk about in a minute, I'm going to test. We're gonna do the next batch of testing with the Batmobiles from the 1966 classic TV show, and fun, exciting thing. And I've got you know what? I'm gonna reach over here and grab these. I wasn't gonna do this, but you know what? Might as well do it now. So I have the TV series, I've got this one, Hot Wheels. This is I don't know, this line, it just says TV series Batmobile classic TV series. This is 6 of 20. There are some other other kind of cars in the back related to Batmobile, but specifically we're doing that 1966 version. So that's one. We've got another TV series Batmobile that we're going to do. So this one is from Batman. It's from a different line, so it'll be interesting to see. Now, I'm still looking for, as a quick aside, I'm still looking for the cars with the that were the same make, model, release time frame, but done in different factories. I'm still on the search for that. I found the single car mainline version, but I haven't found the package. I haven't been able to get that. I thought I did, but hasn't worked out. Anyway, here's the next one. This is the Faster Than Ever. That's the version Faster Than Ever we're going to test. And then I've got, like I said, I've got another box that I will open. There is a classic, as I showed, there is a classic Batmobile in there. So I'm going to pull that out. We're going to run these. We're going to run those four together. And between now and when I do this video, if I find another one, we'll add it to the list. But that'll be four four Batmobiles, which will be run in the next video that we produce. So that's something to look forward to. Now on to back to the giveaway here, because this, we're looking at we're coming up on close to 10 minutes. I don't want to bore y'all too much with all this detail. Just want to give you a shout out to where we're going and how we're doing it and why. The nice thing about science and being in the lab is you learn as you go. You figure out what's making sense and what isn't, and then you work on your efficiencies, and then you just continue. So real quick, I want to insert this. We're going to call this the Peak Speed Lab composite score. Okay. So I mentioned we're going to just maintain this top 10. I didn't really address that, but it'll be the composite score. And again, cars will likely fall out of the top 10 as we continue to go. I've got some good comments thus far, and I've responded, and I've also taken action if I was able to. So we got the faster than evers, the tracked wagon by somebody who uses it with one of the viewers who uses it with the grandson. We've got I did like this Barbie the Barbie dream camper, as a dedication to my grandniece, buddy of mine whose favorite car was that 240Z, that Datsun 240Z. I did that as well. And then there were some other questions, and the next big one that I'm looking at is the main line versus the set, trying to find the equal and just made a different factory so we can see how those cars perform versus each other, how they measure up and perform. So again, moving forward, let's wrap this up. Okay, so moving forward, we're going to do the weight measurement. We're going to do the center of gravity measurement. We're going to do the hub to hub measurement, front and rear. Okay, and then short form drag strip, we'll continue with that. They'll get their 20 warm up laps, they'll get their 10 official laps. We'll run multiple cars at a time, make it a little more excited, a little more interesting. And then we're still going to track that information in the database. If anybody wants to know the full range of measurements that I have been doing on cars as we move forward, let me know. I'll be happy to do those and send that information to you. That's not a problem at all. Then down the road, which will be soon, the next step will be that 164 scale quarter mile drag strip, which again will be measuring the mile per hour / kilometers per hour. And then finally, we're going to end up with the distance testing with a track that's going to involve a down ramp, flat, up ramp. We're going to have a slight S turn, and then we want to have a right and left turns because we want to kind of put them through. We want to put these cars through their paces, see how well they maintain their momentum and their energy, or how maybe poorly they bleed off their energy. So it'll be interesting to see where these cars end up, and then we're going to keep the top 10 based on the tires. So rubber tires, plastic tires. Right now, those are going to be the two categories. Originally, I was going to do the weight classes, but it's really kind of an imbalance. In addition to, again, weight being kind of a distant second to the impact, as we've seen through the 37 vehicles we've tested. So I think that's it. Again, this is Peak Speed Lab 164. I'm Strick. This is the place where gravity and mass meet friction. The ramp will continue to decide the results, and we're going to have more giveaways beyond this Batmobile Silver Series set. Here we go. Here's how the giveaway is going to work. Now, right now when I looked last night, I was surprised, 26 subscribers. Now, again, I don't see them all. They're hidden for, I guess, a couple of reasons. I researched that. It could be because the YouTube may consider them spam, or they may, a lot of folks don't want their information showing, which I understand that as well. But I'm going to go based on what I'm seeing, and that is 26 subscribers. We need 40 more. When we get to 66, then when we get there, we'll do the giveaway, and I'll tell you how that works when we get there. I mean, essentially, you're going to want to comment when we hit that 66 when I announce it. But the reason I chose 66, 1966 is when this series started. It went from 1966 to 68, and they did, I believe it was actually 3 seasons technically. So 66 subscribers, and that's, then we'll do the Hot Wheels giveaway. This is the Silver Series again, Batmobile set. I hope you'll join us. Hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll participate. Hope you'll comment as you're seeing these videos. But this will be the first one once we hit 66 subs. And, we'll address that then. Okay. So until next time, hope you all having a good one. Enjoy that this 164 scale die-cast happiness, my fellow die-caster blasters, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Handling ties. That's something else I wanted to address. So if there's a tie between vehicles, we're going to look at first their original short form drag strip lap time, since that's the most thorough testing that we're going to be doing. If it's still a tie from that, then it'll be the 164 scale quarter mile drag strip. If it's still a tie, then we're going to look at the distance challenge. Now, I'm thinking between those 3 tests, those 3 track setups, there probably won't be a complete tie afterwards. So um, that distance will be the final icebreaker. And we want to just ensure that as we do this, um, we continue to maintain, the integrity, because as I'm pulling this up, uh, the scoring is going to be, it's going to be is what it is. I know we'll be rooting for our favorites. Now, the other thing is there's a lot of different track companies. I know that the spool heads is really cool. There's this aluminum track that I learned about a little bit. I haven't pursued beyond learning about it. That's supposed to be super fast, but for the purposes of the testing for all three tracks, I'm going to use the single lane Hot Wheels track system so that we're running kind of consistently. These tracks are really designed, including the edges, are designed. It's not a flaw. These are edges are set for a reason, so they're it helps reduce that rolling friction as they hit the walls, because they're, if you notice, they're slightly angled, so that helps a little bit too. But this way, there's some consistency, and I'm really actually looking forward to the testing. Oops, hello. I'm still trying to do this. The Yeah, I'm just double checking. So again, I talked about the top 10 cars from each, rubber tires versus plastic tires. If your car drops out of the top 10, if one that's your favorite, sorry, but this is how it works. I'm gonna have favorites too, like this Batmobile. I'm hoping the Faster Than Ever, that's the one I'm hoping one that's gonna end up staying in the top 10. But I've got a lot of other cars, a lot of other companies that have shown up. These are more things to think about in the future. We've got Matchbox. I've got um, the Auto World. I've got here we go. UCow. I've got Johnny Lightning. We've already done some. Well, we've already in. This is a lot to give you. So we got a lot of brands coming, so we can really spread the love across the brands, but also see how these cars, as they're being made, how well they're actually performing against each other um, within the scale of 164 happiness. Okay, I'm done rambling. We'll see you when it comes time for the Batmobile from the 1966 show, and that's it. Okay, now we're done. Now I'm really done right now. Okay, peace off.